Let's start. Thanks for being here. Good afternoon. How are you? Are you still awake? Yeah, it's very good. I can actually do exactly like Jeevan. Because he started by saying I'm 19 years, in business coaching. I'm also 19 years as a legal practitioner, right? And I can also say the same thing. Have you heard of me on the BFM? Have you heard me speak before? We can even put a hand on this, but don't worry about it. I'm not going to do it. It's my panel that's more important, right? So the title of it is very simple. I think the panel discussion is called Mining Data for Marketing Strategy. So before we start, let's do a mic test. All of you have a mic? Yes, good. So from Stephen, maybe just a little bit of introduction about you and how are you relevant to this topic? Okay, practice switching on the mic, yes. Can you do that? Come, use mic.
Hello. Oh, okay, got that. Hi everyone. My name is Stephen. I'm from NexPlatform. I think definitely not 19 years of experience. Not that old at the moment.
We have actually saying me old lah.
Well, we need to create some fire in between. So NexPlatform is actually a platform that has been established for the past 3 years that focusing on just real estate problem by providing a platform solutions to your problem. We'll share more a little bit about the platform that we have, but basically we help developers to convert their lead into the sales in a more efficient and also effective way.
Okay, thanks, Stephen. At least you learn from Jeevan straight away. You don't say forward, but next. Next platform. Very good. We learn, right? Next, Tim.
Hi, my name is Tim. I think I can say 19 years.
Okay. I granted. Take.
I guess my exposure to the property business started with iProperty way back in 2010. So I guess it'd be kind of interesting because if you started at 2010 and today is 2019, and clearly we have, to be honest, I think iProperty has made a lot of money from real estate agents and developers. I think property marketing is also moving at a speed that is quite blinding nowadays, right? Just 2 years ago, I still remember Reda ran an event and it was all about social media. And here 2 years after, suddenly everybody is talking about big data. I started a new venture about 9 months ago called Dex Venture. To keep the long story short, because I'm sitting behind Previndran, your MIEA, right? I have to be a bit careful here. Because we are a PropTech play, but we also believe in the fact that we need to work with the ecosystem, with agents as well as developers to see how we can simplify the whole process of buying, renting and selling properties. Sure. So in a nutshell, that's why.
But 2 years ago, it was a different government and MIEA is not the board. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
So don't worry about PropTech. I think disruption is good. I think disruption makes one more efficient. Please go for it, mate. I think it's fantastic and I think that's what the market needs. As mentioned, my name is Previndran. I'm representing MIEA here. Let's not talk about, 30 years of experience if it's the same every day. I think what we need to actually be is what have you experienced today? And what are you going to experience tomorrow? Because yes. I think that's what big data is, and that's what the type of data we need to mine. Right? Thank you. Of course, I don't want to say how many years experience.
You can tell from the hair. Yes.
Well, 19 seems to be a magic word today. I was a convincing lawyer for 19 years before I ventured into technology. And when I received this topic, data mining, I was thinking, me talking about data mining. Then I thought about it, yes, perhaps from a different perspective, because I actually crossed over a couple of industries. From a property lawyers, how I look at data mining by customers, and I went into becoming a tech lawyer, really looking at how platform and marketplace was built to mine data, and there were a lot of breaches of data breach, and subsequently became the founding member of PropTech Association Malaysia, and also I started my own legal tech platform as well. So again, data mining and data, breach is something that we have to confront with actually on a daily basis.
Sure.
And how to overcome that.
Well done. At least you get out of the rat race from the legal practice now that you're no longer, so it's no longer my sister-in-law. My brother didn't marry her. Yeah. Let's start. I think let's put it this way. Today, I think the forum so far, I think we have been well established to you that that's important for data, right? I mean, we are not here to justify why data is important. I think the whole day session is about that. The reason you signing up here is because more to this forum topic that said, mining data for marketing strategy. You look at the topic itself. First guy I want to take it on is Previn, since he mentioned just now. I'm just saying, how relevant is the topic today in today's context, and how are you applying it in your daily work?
So I think let's look at the industry-wide as well, right?
Sure, of course.
So I think mining, if none of you all are doing it at the moment, I think that's why the penetration of technology into property developers is very poor, right? It's very important. Mining is very crucial. But that is internal mining, right? And internal mining is good, but it's not big data, and it cannot show you enough movement if you want information quick. I'd like external data mining where we don't do it.
Right.
But let's say we are doing a leasing for a mall at the moment. And those days we'll send the crew down to do the surveys and see how many cars and what's the age group, etc. Now we liaise with a telco, and the telco can give us already the heat map. It can tell us, how am I going to reach this person? In this location, what's the age group? Are they on Facebook or Instagram or both? How do I reach them? Right? Because that is the whole purpose.
Sure.
So I think it's got to be both, Chris, and we've used it internally. Mm-hmm. Internally was more for, where's the source of business, right? Is it coming from our website? Is it coming from this? So then I can already plan for the next year. How do I target them? Age group, decision makers. Let's say for the corporate, you'll be surprised, for the office leasing market, sometimes the decision maker is not the CEO.
Yes.
Right? So, it's different things. So yes, we have used it internally, but now because of social media, I think external data mining is more important.
Right.
Yeah.
So do we have two external miner over there? Stephen?
Wow, okay. Well, I don't actually apply the so-called the big data strategy within our business itself. I think that's not so important for the moment. I think for the takeaway, the key takeaways over here is that for us to share, actually just for your understanding, also the information for them is that there are a lot of platform provider out there. Okay, whether it's a NexPlatform or some other competitors or alternative platform that you have over here. As a developer, you all should actually start understanding the problem and also the data that you need. So we will keep saying about we need big data for our business. But I think the key over here is that have you really sit down with your sales and marketing team and trying to understand that what exactly the data that they want to mine. Okay, so you can't actually afford to mine every single data. You can't actually afford to mine all this what I call is rubbish data for you at the moment. It will confuse you even further. From a developer perspective, that's why our platform providing over here is the external connectors to the external source of data. Our platform actually connected 20 over so-called the sales source that you have actually put your content, put your project, put your sales content reside on that. So can you actually connects to all these sources instead of doing a manual export from individuals source that you have over here, by pulling them into one single platform, and from there, that's where that you start to basically define what are the data that you want to understand further. What are the data that you want to push it to your salesperson for them to actually follow up from there. So how do you equip your salesperson? I think that's very important. So that's why from our perspective over here is that we don't do a lot of internal data analytics, because what we actually believe that a lot of property developer, you already have a very strong backend system. You already have a very strong BI, business intelligence system, or even a reporting system. So that's to us, you already well equipped. But I think the most important part is where our solution that comes in, help property developer connect to the external sources. Don't look at just the internal, consider that as a past data also, because they already your purchaser. So can you do a step forward by connecting to even the lead, trying to understand the lead profile, trying to understand, why there is a hit at that particular location from the telco perspective, why there is a lot of cars on that particular shopping mall itself. So So what are actually the spending behavior within a shopping mall? So those are the data, I think, to you, if you're coming from a lead generation perspective, I think that's very important. Yeah.
So Stephen, so are you a data miner then? So I'm hearing like, we don't help you to do and whatnot, we just help you to sort it out. So you're a data sorter? Just wondering.
We are just a data, I would say it's a data mining solution provider for a property developer. We're still running on a B2B basis.
Right.
So we don't help you to generate leads, but we'll work together with your lead generation team by connecting to all the platforms that you have into one single platform. So a day to day. So that means the team leader or the sales and marketing departments, they will be able to see that I spend money into this campaign.
Right.
All right. How much data I actually collected in a real-time basis. I'm talking about real-time basis.
Right.
Not like, after a week, then only I export it, then only import it into my system. I'm talking about real-time basis. Okay. Then to see whether that campaign is really like efficient or effective or not.
All right.
So if it's not effective, immediately you have to come in and change it. Okay. So that's where our solutions are actually capable for.
Good. Tim?
I think from my perspective right now, if you're talking about our own new venture, seriously speaking, if you've been in the IT business for a long time, data mining is not new. Data warehousing has been a concept that has existed for a long, long time.
Right.
If you study computer science in the 1980s, you also studied it. So fundamentally speaking, for our business right now, because we are trying to create a new rental platform to make it easy for young people to rent, without having to pay deposit, and we use insurance to sort of like make sure that landlords will also come onto the platform, and we are working with agents as well. We are not, because I believe that the ecosystem needs to have different elements to make it happen. Honestly speaking, I think developers need to first ask themselves this question, because it's easy to say that, we want to be data driven. But the whole process of collection of data, analysis of data, you probably also realize that it's a whole new area,
right.
And I think we all need to come together, because the world is changing. If we're going to be a data-driven property developer, you're going to start asking yourselves the question, before I can mine, I think Jeevan said it quite aptly, right? What's the purpose of a property developer's business? From there, you need to drill down in terms of, what kind of data you need to collect. And property development is very complex. I don't profess to be an expert, but because being exposed to the industry for a while, from land acquisition to planning to this to that, there's so many parts of your life cycle where there's actually data that you need to collect. And therefore, I think if you're talking about data mining from a marketing perspective,
yes,
I think then it's a question of leveraging what you have out there today, right? Because a lot of you guys in the early days, when iProperty just came around, and because we were generating a lot of traffic, it was very easy to sell to you the concept of buying a banner on a portal. Today, if they come back to you and just try to sell you a banner, it's a bit more difficult, because now you have social media, and to be honest, because of the market conditions, some of you are probably also reverting to the fact that it probably is easier to go and get, 10 real estate agents to help you sell.
Okay, right? Tim, that's why Property Guru as our sponsor are doing it differently. But anyway, just want to start this. I think very importantly, Elizabbeth, I think you represent the PropTech Association. Just for the feel of it, PropTech, since we use the word PropTech, how many of these PropTechs are actually marketing and sales driven in terms of your members in that sense, from your own record?
Wow. We don't have the exact number in Malaysia, to be honest. But I think the PropTech startups in Malaysia generally cover across the entire processes, from listing to marketing to management. First, we have mortgage and legal as well.
Sure.
So, yeah.
That actually leads me to the important question here, because we have a lot coming in, for example. Now, we start. Just now, I think Previn mentioned telco. So data mining from telco, doesn't it classify as invasion of telco user privacy?
Well, that's why, you got to understand PDPA and privacy is small data.
Right.
You can keep it in your system. You don't need zettabytes to store it. The moment you need zettabytes, then it's big data. We don't want your address. We don't want anything. All we want is numbers. What age group? Where are they spending? That's big data. They are not invading your privacy. They are just tracking your pattern. If you still think you're so naive that you think that they don't know what's happening, then go and get the old Nokia phone, because then they can't track you. But as long as you are on a smartphone, they know where you have been. They know where you're spending if you are using a payment gateway, etc. To be honest, Malaysia actually started on a big data plan very early with touch and go, but they screwed it up, right? They have all the information about you. It's a smart card. It can be a payment gateway. It could have been. We started early. That was the vision. But it's just unfortunate. So Chris, to answer that, it's big data. I'm not asking for your name and your address. Right. I'm asking for the big data.
On an anonymous basis almost.
No, it's not anonymous because it's not even an individual, right?
Sure.
For example, right, the big data that you are mined for all the time you use your Visa card when you travel. Visa comes out with a report every year on travel. How much was spent on airline, how much was spent on hotel, how much was spent on shopping.
Sure.
So that's no invasion of privacy.
Correct. I can also add on, as a lawyer, whatever you sign, that form that you never read, you already give away your privacy. Because I drafted them, most of the time. Yes, you want to say something?
Okay. Well, actually, on behalf of PropTech Association, I think I need to clarify something also to especially developers or fellow agents, because PropTech startups are very often being accused of mining developers' data. Yeah, so this is what we face a lot of the time. When we go out, we approach developer, we do marketing, and then we want to charge developer for the services or the tech. They'll say that they are not prepared to pay. And many PropTech startup end up giving a promotional rate or even free trial. So when you give it for free, then developers say, why are you giving it to us for free? Are you trying to collect data from us? But I just want to clarify that data is plentiful in the air, all right? There's a lot of data in the market and you can get it very, very cheap. Startup does not have to raise 5 million funding to mine data from the developer.
Sure.
But startup platform to help as an instrument or as a tool to help developer to make sense of the data, to build relevancy of data. In fact, it is not raw data that we are talking about. And in Malaysia, again, there's a lot of misconception. I think as lawyer, you understand, right? Many times we have clients to come to us to tell us about big data. They thought when you have a lot of data, it is called big data. It's not, okay? A lot of raw data doesn't give you anything.
Sure.
But the data analytic, how you can make sense of the data is important. The behavior is important. The correlation is more important. Certain people will look for a certain data pattern that has seemingly no relation to real estate, but that will give you the lead to purchasers of real estate. So these are patterns that we are talking about.
Sure. So Stephen, I want to ask you a question, since you said that you source the data and whatnot. I'm just wondering, if in a very general sense, how does it work altogether? In that sense, what kind of data we should look for and how you're going to use it effectively for your sales strategy? Maybe a case study kind of thing?
Sure. Not because of I am not within your category. You throw me a lot of questions, right?
No.
Okay. Well, I think probably it makes more sense for me to share a little bit like the conversations that we have with property developers, and I believe that sitting down, so-called with you all, this morning until the so-called late afternoon, I also keep asking myself, what is exactly that this event key takeaway from all the audience that we have over here? I think pretty much I keep asking myself the same question.
So what's your answer?
Basically,
straight away, come.
I think the answer is pretty much quite straightforward. Ask yourself the same that, can you, before you arrange a campaign or an event, right, for your own property developer launching or resale kind of event, can you actually target the right audience? Where is actually the database has come from?
Right.
So for you to advertise in social media, a lot of sales channels and all that stuff, right, shouldn't be any problem. But every single developer, they are doing the same. So how different are you as comparing to them? I think services, the response time is actually the key out of it. So once they actually register the interest directly in the social media or even in a Google search itself, right? When they reach out to you, how fast that your team can actually respond it back to them. You need to track all these things.
Sure.
So for people that who are very hardworking and keep calling them, like setting up an appointment, but after that there is no sales conversion.
Sure.
What is exactly the team gap that you are trying to like come in and basically address out of it? The system or the platform should be able to help you once you capture the data already, analyze it for you, and to let you as a team leader or a sales marketing team leader to understand what is exactly your weakness over here. You keep saying that I want to push for a sales conversion, but sales conversion, it will not be like dropping it from the sky, you see.
Right.
So it's all about...
It won't?
It won't. It won't. Basically, it won't. But if there is, please let me know also. So it won't drop from the sky. So you have to understand what exactly the weakness that you have. So are you arranging like a top sales that to come in and give some like educations, sections to your people who handling a lot like appointment but zero sales conversions? So those are the questions that I think if there is a platform that could actually help you to do that, I think you will be more than appreciate to basically be engaged with that kind of value.
Okay. Tim, can you make it clearer? He's not giving us answer yet.
I think
he's trying to sell his service.
No, he's talking about the NexPlatform.
Yeah, I understand. Now, come, Tim, with your vast experience.
I don't know. Maybe let's take a step back, right? Because if in MIEA, I'm sure all of you know who Peter Drucker is, right?
Yes.
Right. So Peter Drucker
He's not
said,
drunk, yeah.
because this is all about marketing, right? So Peter Drucker said, marketing is business and marketing is management. I don't know. Maybe we want to think about this. And seriously, I think if I'm a property developer, and I think today's session was all about how do we know that what we build is something that the market needs. So so from that standpoint, if you really plan a product from a data perspective and you know where the demand is coming from, then the question is, why do we need marketing, right?
Yes. Why?
That is marketing, right? So my point then is that data driven is not just about, because here we are talking about, I'm not trying to put down NexPlatform. You can build a product and then think that you're going to do all the great marketing in the world and reach out to all your target audience in social media, engage them. But if it's not a product that they want, then data is actually irrelevant, right? So I think what is good to know about today's session is that developers should start becoming more data driven. But it's not only, if you look at it from a marketing perspective, then of course, it's a business, you have to market and you have to sell. But maybe just one point of reflection, and I do not know whether they did any market research.
Sure.
The Proton X70.
Right.
I don't know whether they actually did research, but it's selling like hotcakes, right?
Right, yeah, of course. It's the pricing, yeah.
So it would be nice to see developers coming out with a Proton X70 that people will just buy because it's a right fit.
Sure.
Because it's value for money.
Right.
And the quality is there. It drives like a German car, so everybody wants to buy. So I think we have to take that into perspective, because I think if you start right with the data piece, then hopefully, but there's also a scary thought. But what if the demand is actually not there? So which is why now people are talking about maybe we should do rent to own. In fact, there's a whole concept, I think, Previn, you must be familiar with. I think in Germany it's 50% build to rent. Mm-hmm. So maybe build to rent is something that we should consider now.
Sure.
Given the fact that some of our panelists have been saying that the next generation want to buy one.
Right. So it's the portfolio model about investment, ownership, and everything else. I think it's important just to highlight one thing. I think I gather from them is that, because even from Stephen's answer, he said, right target audience, know exactly what you want. Because if you don't know, right, I can give you all the tools and whatnot, we're still reaching out wrongly. So the right is very important. I think from Tim, what I gather is that in your product design, is it meeting the demand, right? Are you putting a supply where nobody want, or you think that people want but it's not really want? In that sense. So I'm thinking, very importantly, data mining, you must know what you want very clearly. Get that out first, and marketing start from day one, day zero in fact. From that day, if you already know this is market fix kind of, market fit kind of product, then you would have it easily. So I like to actually ask Previn now, of course, because I think that question is looking at him strictly. from MIEA. With the advancement of technology, will PropTech replace property agents' business, especially in new property launches and rental market?
Okay, Malaysia might be the wrong market to compare because we are highly regulated here. Let's look at the UK where there's no regulation. You don't need a license to be an estate agent.
Right.
We had Purple Bricks and we have Zoopla, and they've done fantastic. You know, I think it's great. But that last mile, I think even Purple Bricks now are converting themselves into an estate agency. So the last mile is very important. And I'd like to share a story about Zoopla. And I think my answer to that is no, because I think PropTech will work together with developers and with agents. It is symbiotic. Like, let's say for Zoopla, and you know, it's fantastic. This is where big data comes. You go to Zoopla to list your property. You list it with the address. You know how the postcode works so well in the UK? They immediately give you a map. You load your photos. They immediately try with AI to give a description of your property. Then the surrounding, immediately they tell you what is the average electricity consumption, what is the parking rate on the ground, what is the average spend for food in the vicinity. That is what we want, right? And I think that's what PropTech eventually going to provide, not just to agents, but to the rest of the bigger market and to developers
Consumer.
as well,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, you see, but you got to understand, Stephen's approach is post-design development, right? So that's why his answer was you must know who you want to target to. But for me, and that's what I think a lot of people need now, right? But for me, if you purchase your land to develop without your CMO or your head of marketing being aware about it, I think tough lah. You know, I think marketing has to start from day one. You need to get big data from day one, right? Using your own data while you're a Klang Valley developer, but you're buying a land in Johor is not going to work, right? You need data from there to actually explain it to you.
Sure. We have a lot of questions here. We'll probably just ask and then see who want to take it up, because I think it's more important to answer yours, right? Our people are becoming more skeptical in providing personal data. What can we do to ensure them the data provided will be kept safely? Can we move up the screen? Should I? No. Anyone will do that? All right, me, All right. So the answer is very simple. Actually, it's about the comfort and also how you actually address it, because you can actually design it in terms of your whether are people more skeptical? Yes. But at the same time, they are more ready. If you offer them convenient, they give you everything. Really. You know, if you think about it, really, if you make it very convenient and whatnot, they really don't mind filling it in, don't ask. But you give them too many complications, the answer is no. So it's again a little bit more psychology than that. All right, the next one. How do we get insight into customer emotion in order to personalize a holistic marketing experience, or rather customer experience? Personalize. Come on. Yeah, beer for you.
I think you need to imagine yourself as a buyer and the pain points that you go through when you purchase anything, right? Filling up forms, signing 86 pages on a sales and purchase agreement, right? Coming in and getting someone who can understand you. You know, so you need to imagine yourself doing that, right? And this is where I think I like to learn from the coffee players. If you go to Starbucks or to Costa, and more so Costa nowadays, or San Francisco Coffee, it's an experience, right? From how they greet you. So they've already thought, what would somebody want when they walk into my store, right? Even if the store is empty, San Francisco Coffee will still brew coffee because you want the smell of coffee when you walk in, right? So I think you need to do that. There is no magic to this, you know. I think you just need to experience what is the pain. People don't like to, when you ask, can you afford it? Don't ask lah. You know?
Yes.
You know, make it comfortable. You need to know to ask proper questions, right? Don't ask budget. What investment range are you looking at? You know, things like that. You know, you got to be a bit more peka lah, you know, to people.
Right. Well, we have a master marketeer here in action, of course, Previn. That's why I always like him. It's my talk. Later, you'll just take my mic and then start talking, right? So, Tim and Steve, any insight like from this type of mining kind of side?
Okay, as a consumer myself, maybe I have to say this carefully, but I think it's probably something that needs to be said. I think developers need to understand that it's not about the selling. it's also about the delivery.
All right.
So I think the best marketing really is, and I'm not saying, every developer is bad, but the quality of the product is also a very key thing. If you're talking about building, data and all that, clearly, if you've got a data strategy, you deliver a product that is not what, the customer expects, then your data all will be, shitty data. Then you have a huge problem trying to, because at the end of the day, if I may use the analogy of iPhone, the reason people love iPhone is because of the quality of the product, and it sells by itself. I just wish that one day we will have a developer who is like iPhone, where people will just line out and buy your product. So I think don't forget about, that as well, because that is also, marketing as far as consumers are concerned.
Right.
Yeah.
Taking on that, I'm just thinking it's important to also take data of the product that you deliver, right? Because a lot of time you're just thinking sell, and then deliver have not been looking at it as a part of it. Because from those data, from the feedback that you generate from your customers in relation to the product qualities and product delivery, you can use it for marketing. You're knowing what exactly they want. Yes, you want to say something?
Have you tried the Huawei P30?
Yeah.
Much better than the iPhone.
Yeah, people are lining up for that now. Yes, Steve.
Okay, I think I need to clarify a little bit. Probably like the solutions, because I'm coming from a technology property platform provider. So, the message I'm trying to deliver over is pretty much very related to like technologies. So, speaking about this, right, I think from a technology perspective, marketing experience and also customer experience. So, the teams that you all have within the property developer, they already do it very well. And again, that is only internal. So why do we actually term it as an internal? Because you have a lot of like external data or external question that you should be posted up to your purchaser or your potential leads itself. Being a product developer, right, have you all really like sit down and arrange a closed door private section with the purchasers that you all have? Whether are they actually like feedback the products that, when they sign with you all, after when they get the key, right, how's actually the feedback? How's actually the feedback on their so-called like purchase on your services itself? So if the feedback is actually good, right, I don't see any problem that they can actually go out and refer a few more friends for you. So we are thinking about like, can the technology actually comes in, right, to provide a referral kind of like platform, for your purchasers to basically refer more people, because they are the one that you all have actually convinced. They should be the one that who help you to go out and refer a few more like, candidates for you guys as well. So those are the second tiers of the relationship that you all should be like, maximizing it. So I think, again, that's pretty much like a marketing experience that you can go down to another level to reach to the so-called like external party and trying to understand more about it. I think that's also very important.
Yeah, that's what we call advocate. Just now we learned, right? I thought I'm the only advocate here, but no, right? Officially practicing. But no, I'm highlighting the next question here. Let's look at it. How developer can have balance on cost of building versus affordable product in the market when cost of building is already high and so on and so on. But just a little bit before I ask Elizabbeth to answer this, I would also want to know in terms of budget-wise. For example, talk about cost now, we talk about budget. How much cost should you go into data collection, data mining? What is a good ratio? Is there like a rule of thumb or whatever? Yes, Elizabbeth, you want to start?
Okay, let's address costing issues. I think after looking at after being a property developer for many years and now in PropTech for the last 3 years, I think, and also having been a convincing lawyer for China developer, all right? I think Malaysia developer got to be mindful of data mining because data is not free, right? Data mining comes with cost. So there is always a ROI issues there. And in Malaysia, our development, with the limitation of population, our development is limited in number. We are not like China. China, one time I can sell 9,000 units, right? Malaysia, maximum probably now 300, 400 units. So does it justify the cost of the entire exercise of data mining and to create a data-driven project. So in terms of costing, developer really need to think through. Is this data mining exercise a long-term corporate exercise? That means it comes from the corporate level. Or is it going to be project costing? Because if it's going to be part of your project costing, it may not justify your data mining cost. Because sometimes you got to look at your, like Google, we always talk about what? Cost per data, right? Cost per data and cost per conversion.
Right.
So sometimes the cost may not justify. Why? Because in Malaysia, as we stand now, Pravin, I think many developers do, when they look for land, they get a few agent friends to look for land. Right? They will ask the agent, do you think can sell or not? What type of product you think you can sell for me? So if the agency can give him an answer, this kind of location, this kind of product, I can sell for you, no problem. Within 6 months, I can sell all for you. Why do I need to spend time to do data mining? Correct or not?
Right. So Previn is the data source.
So the objective and ultimately is revenue. It's about bottom line. Right. It's not about doing data mining for the sake of data mining. It's about creating the bottom line and long-term loyalty to the corporate level, to the developer. That is what I think the costing got to be very mindful of.
Sure. Previn?
Well, with regards to this question, maybe Radar Institute can have another conference.
Of course.
No, this one.
Which
cost
one?
of building and affordable products. I don't think we are qualified to...
Sure. But what about the data? How much budget should we allocate?
It's part of your marketing cost.
Right.
It's simple as that. I think those days marketing cost was ballooned a fair bit due to press advertisements, etc. Now you have cheaper avenues now, but you need to make a decision. Now you can rely on the agent, but are you going to spend 200 million ringgit on a piece of property where the agent is going to make 4 million ringgit? He's going to tell you sure can sell one.
Yeah.
I think let's put things into perspective. Are you going to bitch about 500,000 ringgit for buying 200 million and potential loss of X amount of ringgit? I think that's, get that into perspective, Data is everything now, right? It is everything. We cannot run away from this.
Sure.
Right? It is very important. If you don't wait, yes, can. Because I also believe some people got very strong gut feeling. They've got the experience, right? So they can already understand, look, I think I know this market, etc. But sometimes you really need to know because market conditions are a bit more precarious now. You really want to make sure that you are making the right decision, right? And there's no harm getting the information at source, which you can last through the lifetime of the project, right? And as I said, to spend the 500,000 or it'd be much less, right?
Sure.
But to spend that kind of money upfront, I think it's, just to be very careful. You don't want to be penny wise, pound foolish.
Sure. Is there really any rule of thumb, Tim and Steve?
Oh, okay. So, again, talking to a lot of property developers, they always like to throw you these questions. So, how much should I be spending with you? So, I think pretty much that question should also be posted back to you guys also. So you can always start with 20% of the allocation for your marketing costs on digital. But the most important part over here is that you need to track. The reason why right now they don't track and they don't really maximize the usage of it because we just talk to a couple of developers just now in the sections itself. Then you just say it's very expensive, but define expensive. If the lead that you are collecting, you only use it for one time, then you throw away. Then the next event that comes in, you have to restart again. Of course, it's expensive.
Sure.
So if I buy the iPhone, I just use it after 1 month, I change phone again, that iPhone is pretty much expensive. But if I can use the iPhone for the next 7 years, I think that's pretty much quite affordable though.
Unlikely
because of quality. Okay. That's why he's lawyer anyway. Yeah, I think it's all about how much you maximizing the leads that you collected, the data you collected. If the customer that you are bringing in that can refer you another 3 more customers, I think the digital cost that you actually spend, it makes sense. I think that should be comes in, not just throwing all the money back to agency and tell you that I can sell. But at the end of the day, you just look at the total picture. But by then, after 3 months, the agency couldn't sell, then it's already too late. right? So those are the things that I think time is also a cost in the marketing experience that we are talking about over here. Yeah.
Right. So I'm taking on his analogy to iPhone, and you can use for 6-7 years, which I'm disputing, right? They have like an auto date thing, you know, after 2 years they'll just die. Tim, I want to take you on, Tim, because I want to ask a very important question here, because I want to ask this question as in like, how do we ensure the continued relevance of data that we collected? Because very importantly, because in the speed of change today, right, are we overvaluing the past? Because data is always the past in that sense. Because even if you collect it today, it's past now, even if you simultaneously collect. So I'm asking to you, are we overvaluing the past? Because things change very fast. You know, these days it's like one new phone every new year.
Yeah, that's the other, I mean, Chris, that's a good question, because I was also trying to figure out, we in the property industry, unlike, you see, if you are Grab or if you are Lazada, you know, you can keep track of the changes of behavior because the level of engagement
it's more frequent
between the consumer and you is very high.
Yes.
Let's be honest here, how many times do you buy a property in your whole lifetime? So, although, you know, the property portals are all doing a great job, and I'm not disputing the fact that I love what Property Guru is doing. It's all like
okay.
Switching the paradigm to say, you know, go get a loan first before you buy a house. The point then is, how much data can we really collect based on consumer behavior when it comes to property?
Yes.
So you need to look at other elements of behavioral patterns to sort of like extrapolate and say, maybe this is a person that I should be reaching, you know, whether it's on his Facebook profile or his LinkedIn profile or whatever he does on Instagram and things like that. So you see ourselves being, honestly speaking, we are being sucked into this hype that, you know, and I'm not disputing the fact that, and honestly, this is something that I think developers are not so, they're already doing it as well. Every time you run a campaign, right, and you spend money on Google and Facebook, every lead that you collect, every single piece of data that you've generated through that, collect and make sure that you know, analyze it as well. Because I would say the same thing to property agents who are doing property marketing. Because they are just so focused on selling, they spend $500,000 on social media, whatever, and then sell already, forget already lah. Mm-hmm. Then get next project, start all over again, right? So there's no data strategy, right? So maybe going back to what Elizabbeth is saying, data is actually a strategy moving forward for all businesses. So if you're talking about cost, then it should go into the strategic part already, because it's not about, like what Previn is saying, we are actually talking about the future now, because 5-10 years from now, your consumers are going to change.
Yep.
And it's very true. I have, you know, in fact, my kids are quite grown up. They also ask me the same question, what the hell do I want to buy a property for, right? But some of them are lucky, we buy for them.
Right.
But the point then is, you need to do it now, because property development business, I've learned, and humbly speaking from this, right? You are in a long-term business, one project, 4 years.
Right.
And so it's not something that you just, you know, okay, let's go and, you know.
Sure.
Tim,
yep.
That's exactly what I was, wanting to say. Because I think it should be a long-term strategy, and not only that, we are not only overvaluing past data. I think sometimes we could be overvaluing present data. We should be looking into mining future data, right? Really looking at 5 years from now, because property cycle will take like 5 years, right, per cycle. So we must really look at the property buyers 5 years from now. Who are they? They are the 20-year-old now. What's their pattern like? What's their behavior? Do they want to own a house? Are they prepared to go for commitment? Or are they just want to live in a place instead of owning? So the concept of the roof over their head is different. So what I like to do is, that's why I like to talk to a lot of young people and do that kind of research. Basically, I think, looking into the future and plan it ahead. It's just like, see, like any tech company, whenever we have a current tech, we always have an R&D department behind that research and do research and development on what is going to come like 3 to 5 years from now. I guess developer will have to do that as well as part of your data strategy.
Okay, this leads me perfectly to the next question, which is for Previn. Thank you for picking up the mic, knowing that it's you. Running a successful marketing agency, which is property agency in what you do in the past, how do you make sure your data that you've collected are relevant? Because data collected from the past, moving forward, how are we going to use it? And knowing that, probably average, 5-year buy one property if you're at a very high circle kind of thing. So I'm just thinking, how do you make the data relevant, and how do you then channel this input? Because let's put it this way, property agency today are the source of data in a way, right? We will ask you, if I have this product, you think it can sell, how do you make it even more sellable than it is?
Okay. If a developer comes to me and says, sell to your database,
right,
I'll say no, I'll turn it down.
Okay.
Because that's just one of the marketing strategy.
Right.
Right. There's a variety of strategy. And it's also, as what Tim said, you don't buy a property every other day.
Right.
Right. It's a cycle to purchase. We have quite a deep database, and we know what property they've bought before. Mm-hmm. We've tried to use some analytics to put some inflation numbers to see what they can afford now. This is for the residential side.
Right.
Yeah? Not the easiest, using raw data, and we use very simple systems to that. But for our commercial side, when we analyze for offices, etc., so past data is very important.
Right.
We do use it.
Right.
But that's mainly for remarketing.
Right.
Right. Retaining.
Right.
Right. And reselling. That's the whole purpose of the past data.
Past
yes.
data.
Right. Right. Present data is actually more relevant at the present moment for us.
This is where you rely on the external miner.
External, and also the interaction from our website, from our Facebook page, from our Instagram.
Okay.
We get a lot of analytics from that. Yep. Well, I won't say a lot, but it gives me an idea of what I need to do. Right. More importantly. Mm-hmm. For example, if let's say I do a LinkedIn campaign,
right,
on a particular property, etc., I can get the analytics of I'm attracting what type of people, from which company, from what location. That's just very important, because then I already know for my next stage what I need to do if I want to focus on that particular market on a different platform. It doesn't have to be on LinkedIn only, right? But past data is important. I mean, for developers even more so, right? Because they are in your system forever, right? You can resell to them. They're probably going to enter into your property management system. They're probably, their kids probably you're going to resell to them. I think, a lot of developers have a membership, or what do you call this, a loyalty program.
Yeah.
Right? So it is important.
It is important. Good. Anyone want to take on this? Okay, let's go to this one. We have James Bond here, but this one I'm not very key to what data is all about, but never mind. Is development sustainability a key item to attract today's buyer? That we should ask our data, right? Really off the point. Anyone?
Actually, Chris, there was a very important, very, very relevant question just now.
Which
on
I missed, right?
the past data. Can
okay.
you get that up? There was a question about the overhang now. Yes, that one.
This one.
Also by James Bond.
Also by James Bond. Thanks, James. Right? Hindsight is 2020. That's next year. Isn't the overhang now due to bad data taken previously? All right. Who want to take that?
Okay. Based on the statistics we have, the overhang doubled the year Bank Negara implemented responsible lending guidelines. So go figure.
Okay. Right. Anyone else? Bad data taken, because the data came very slow, 2 quarters after, right? Some other thing. Yeah. What else?
I'm not sure it's even data that contributed to that, right?
Right. Okay, good. So don't blame it on data, right? After all, it's your own instincts. Okay, let's put it this way. If I ask you today, all my panelists today, I'm just saying, what would be a characteristic of a perfect data-driven marketing strategy for property? Just share one of the characteristics, and hopefully don't repeat. Who wants to start? Data-driven property marketing campaign.
Probably, I would say that trust your team. and understand the team that you are working over here right now is actually a new generations. As a new generations that they can actually take in a lot of like data. So just trying to identify or comparing yourself and also the team that you are working with, right? Last time, we pretty much we only have like TV, radio. That's basically like the source of like, data that they can actually process it. But right now today, they could have like, iFlix, Netflix, like Spotify, ABCD, like social media, even like, list of like platform that they can actually process the data. The mind that they are actually coming, right, is much more powerful than what you can actually think of right now. So if you are empowering them for helping you or to basically to help you to push your business further, right? I think you have to understand that what is actually their capability that they can actually process. So don't be stingy, giving them more data for them to actually analyze it and come back to you with the proposal they could actually have in mind, because they are the closest to your purchasers who know the target audience that they could have. Trust your own team. Okay, don't be stingy that like collecting all this data and share with them. I think a lot of time you can actually have a very fruitful discussion if you really like sit down with the team and understand what exactly that they have, because they really like close to the purchaser. I would say trust your team.
Because they are the front line. Yeah. Yep. Anyone else?
For me, as I started it very clear, the property industry is the last to embrace technology in most cases. I think if you want the perfect one, right, would something be like what Tencent or Lazada or Alibaba are doing.
Right.
They have the perfect data-driven technology. Tencent especially, because they sell various, or one of their things, C-Trip. If you know C-Trip, C-Trip is probably my favorite data-driven technology, and should emulate it. The information about how they use data is available online. It's just fantastic. So that would be my perfect data-driven strategy.
Which means we mock them.
You have to. Emulation is, there's nothing wrong. We are the late adopters.
Can you share what is the thing that really attract you most? Perhaps just something more exact?
I think it's just based on the data of the people, the behavioral data of the people coming on the website.
Right.
They already know what to push on the next click, or they're already popping up.
Right.
Window, just based on the behavioral data tracked by the cookie, right? It's just fantastic, right? But of course, that's short term, that's base data, right? But then they track the behaving pattern, the purchase pattern,
right?
And because of that purchase pattern, they can backward integrate or forward integrate their business. Now, C-Trip has gone into hospitality to own hotels now because of the behavioral data. They can already tell you where are they going. Where are they going? But this is big data, Chris.
Right.
For me, I take it a given that developers are already mining their own data. It's very important. But I think the future is actually getting data from third-party sources in order to make your decision about patterns. Because we are a single purchase. We can't track pattern.
Right.
We can't track whether you like Facebook or how old your children are or what. But look, it's not the answer to everything. At the end of the day, logic still prevails. But it is a guide to you of what is available on a purchasing pattern. Example,
right.
If I knew, right, a particular HR person, what they like, which location they are always at, I already know which location to target for their next office space.
Right.
Right? It's not information from me.
Sure.
It's external information.
Understand. So very good. So emulate the best in using the data that you mine. What other characteristic we'll call a data-driven property marketing strategy?
I would go back again to my premise that it's not so much data-driven marketing strategy. I think developers need to be data-driven. So data-driven, approaches to the property development business. Then I think developers, they understand their value chain more than we do.
Right.
So I think it starts with the purchase of the land.
Right.
And I know today in the morning there was a bit of interesting thing. If the government is going to take 5 years to come up with that integrated platform, then clearly, I think developers are going to have a hard time. But the data is there actually. Whether NAPIC is accurate or not, that's arguable, but there's still data, right?
Right.
So I think a perfect data-driven property marketing strategy should start with the land acquisition. Then from there, clear definition of your target market. Because if you get that right and you have done your demographics and psychographics up front, you fundamentally take the whole thing and you thread it through the whole strategy, right?
Right.
Then everything is consistent from beginning till end. And then hopefully if you do that, and I'm not saying that you will always need good property marketing agents to help you do the closure, but then their job probably will also be easier because you have defined everything from up front.
Sure. Yeah. So I will conclude that because a lot of time instead of data driven, we are data given. We take it like data are given. So we think that in this location, there will be people who want to buy because it's next to a college. that's all we can think of. So I'm thinking instead of data given, let's really be data driven. So I think it's important. And Elizabbeth, what would be your perfect data driven?
The perfect data driven property marketing strategy. All right. To me, it is about predictive. And the predictive,
right?
Yeah. Of course, that goes to AI and machine learning,
sure.
Right? And to me, a perfect data analytic strategy is massive because we cannot only take developers' data and process it and analyze it. We've got to look at even the macro view plus the micro. Like for example, the whole country economy, world economy, movement of population, demographic, at which year, how many babies were born, by what year, how many of them are ready to own a house. Things like, even you see, looking at the property overhang, okay? Everyone is talking about property overhang. But many of us miss one important issue, which is personal debt, high household debt. Right? We keep blaming the bank for not lending, and we keep blaming central bank for not loosening the lending guideline. But if you have if you have 3 personal loan, if you have 3 credit card, 1 personal loan, 1 housing, 1 car loan, how are you going to qualify for a housing loan? There's no way that can happen. So if we had been tracking this movement and this pattern of spending, probably the machine would be able to predict that when it reaches a certain point in time of the economy, our young people will be so overloaded with personal debt and they will not be able to qualify for housing loan. Therefore, even though there is demand for housing, they will not be bankable.
Yeah. Right.
So this is the value of data and predictive.
Okay, so it has to be predictive. So I'm sure you agree with me that our panelists here have shared a lot today. Before I let them go, I just want to say, because I'm going to take on Stephen. You know why I'm here to take on you? Because you're like the whole far away, my opponent. But no, start with you because he actually said, when he introduced, he said, what would be the take-home like today? So I'm just saying that each of you can now offer a tapao, a takeaway for everyone, right? What would that be for this whole panel discussion of mining data for marketing strategy?
I'm coming from a solution provider perspective. Do check out, what NexPlatform can actually offer over here. I think marketing, So basically, I think that's also the key takeaways over here is that you have to, the reason why you actually, paying up and basically attend this particular event, I think at the end of the day, you must actually take back some tools or even some knowledge can actually help you in the next steps in your business itself. I think, we have such a solution.
Sure, very good. So remember, take his name card at least. Tim.
I sort of like what Jeevan said earlier on. I think one of the biggest issue that we are facing today in terms of the overhang and things like that, and to be honest, I think we all went through that cycle and we saw the exuberance and then suddenly there's all this. I think maybe it's also important for developers to ask the fundamental question about what actually is the purpose of a property developer. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be making money. I think that is a given. But I think if developers, it's a difficult thing because I think the government also have an issue because it's housing the roof over our heads. There are 2 elements driving that now. It's a commercially driven, business reason. And then there's a social reason in terms of housing our young people, right? So I think there should be some fundamental reflection as well because if you want to be data driven, I think we have to go back to being developers who are also purpose driven. And that purpose cannot just be all about making money. Because what happened in the last 3 years is because everybody's purpose was just to make a lot of money. And sorry to say that, I think consumers themselves also contributed.
Don't be sorry. Forgiven, yeah. Yes, Previn.
I think, if it's really one takeaway, I think is what this young lady said just now. It's got to be predictive. It's not worth it mining your data. It's not worth it buying the analytics if you cannot predict or you cannot forecast what you need. I think that's a great word. You go back today, just become predictor lah. So.
Yeah, of course, you need a platform. Obviously, what's the next platform?
Next platform.
Yes, Elizabbeth. Women always have the last word, no?
After everything has been said, I have nothing else left to say. Okay, predictive. All right. So I guess to be mindful and be sensible when you want to go into the exercise like that. So it has to actually be. It has to give meaning to an organization. I think just do not do it blindly just because you want to sell your products. And actually, I like to take this last question.
Okay.
Is it okay? If all using the same data
for the same location, wouldn't it balloon into similar product?
Yeah. I've been thinking about this question. All right. So let's answer that.
Right.
If you were here before lunch today, you would have heard the DG of KPKT. They were saying that the KPKT is going to, I think they have their own system to analyze data, and they will be sharing data with developer. And not only that, I think we have to work with local council. Every local council is the controller of that locality, and local council should use data to approve projects, and not let developer apply and just
duplication.
Duplication, yes.
Well, this is the delicate part about data mining, right?
Yep.
You cannot just rely on data. At the end of the day, what is your USP? Right? The data is a guide. Okay, it's 25 to 35. They can afford $500,000. They want 3 bedrooms. That's it. That's probably what it's going to give. How you finish it, how you design, what's your team, that is another design development exercise that you have to go through. Right? So I think, they might come up with products that are in the same price range, but I just don't think it'll be similar.
Right. That's all from us today. From the head, time's up. I can see the word. I just want to conclude this in this sense. Data is inevitable. I think it's important. Today, they say data is a new goal, right? So moving forward, we have to really give the due respect to data, but at the same time, treat data with cautious, especially from this industry, because I want to let you know that housing or real estate property development, we are not looking at someone who will go back to the grocery store and shop and all these things so easy. And the trend and the perspective is very, very much different. Give it a good thought, right? So that gives you a lot of things to do when you're on your way back stuck in the jam. So with that, please give a big round of applause with all our panel today. And give it back to you, Per.